Awesome. All right, guys. So thanks for joining tonight. Taking a little bit more time to do a lot of recovery, focusing on the hips. It's been a pretty big last couple weeks and months with all of the challenges and everything. So we'll take a little bit of that time today. So first thing that we're gonna just check up on is if anything is uncomfortable or doesn't feel good, please let me know. And if that means that you have to stop, please do so. And then we can just discuss that later on, but you just don't want to be pushing yourself past the point of pain. Whether that's, there's a difference between that good pain and bad pain. So should be feeling a nice little bit of a stretch, working that to about, 60%, and then slowly kind of hanging out between 50 to 70% there with your breath. And then lastly, if there's anything that you can't see or you need me to go over, just pop your mic on and let me know, or shoot me a message in the chat. But I'll talk you through it, and then we'll work through it together as a group collectively. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Are we good to go? Thumbs up from those of you that have the video on. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So if you have a mat nearby or carpet, that's great. We are going to start all fours. So we're going to work through first just to open up the low back and the hips. We're going to start on all fours, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to work through that cat camel. So we're going to take that nice inhale and exhale, and we're going to work through about 20 repetitions. So the exhale is going to come as we tuck our pelvis and tuck the chin. And the inhale as we slowly let that back and chest sink through, as you got a nice upper body mobility with Kyle yesterday. And then that exhale as we tuck our chin, tucking our pelvis. Just want to get the spine nice and warm here. Inhale, nice big belly breath as you come into that extension. Good. And exhale as you come into that spinal flexion. So take this at your own pace. We're going to aim for around anywhere from 15 to 20 of these. And starting to just slow your breath down. Really focus on feeling kind of each segment through the spine. Feeling how the body feels. Where you might be holding on to tension. Remember, exhaling as we arch through that spine. Getting that nice stretch. And coming up into that nice inhale as we sink our chest down and untuck our pelvis. Good, we're all doing okay here. We're gonna go for 5 more repetitions. Remember your breath. Nice big diaphragmatic breathing. Start thinking about a nice inhale for 4 and exhale for 4. And we're going to finish up your last one wherever you are. And then coming back into that neutral set position here. So from this position here, everyone, we're just going to think about almost like an X position. So I'm going to sit my hips back towards the left and then come back into center. So it's almost like actually an upside down V. So I just want to rock my hips coming back center, and I just want to shift my hips so I can feel that left glute start to get nice and loose, and then I shift my hips back. Shift my hips to this side, to my right heel, and then back. Can we all see me? We're all doing okay. So see how I shift, and then come back to center. Good. And same again, we're going to go for about 15 to 20 reps total. And if you find left side or right side feels a little bit, more tight than the other, I just want you to kind of scan. So just kind of hang out there. Maybe just scan around thinking about like a half moon. and then coming back to center. Just kind of find a nice intuitive rhythm with it. Just feel what feels good for you, focusing on the breath. And you're just going to find that nice little rhythm with like a half sun as you scan from left to right. Good. So we'll go 2 more times, left and right. And really make sure that your intention with your breath is just nice and slow. Feel where the body might feel tight. Just try to connect to where you're stretching. And then coming back to center when you feel okay, we're gonna press ourselves into a down dog position from here. So we're gonna sit our hips back, okay? So hands are gonna be nice and in front of basically the chest, and we wanna think about pushing our hands into the floor and sinking our chest down to the ground. You can have a slight bend in the knees, okay? And we just wanna slowly floss out and just walk out those heels. So I'm going to come up onto my toes, and I'm just going to slowly bring my left heel down to the floor, back up to start, and then walk out my right heel to the floor, back up to start. Good. We're going to same thing here. Going to go for around 10 to 15 reps. Nice and slow. Feel the calves stretching out, sinking the chest. Feel a little bit of arm and lat stretching through here. Good. Finish up your last 6 total. Good. A couple more there, guys. Should feel the stretch to the upper back as well too a little bit. Get a little bit of extension. And then when you're done, coming back into that all fours position. Good. If you need to, we can then take those wrists, just give them a nice little stretch out. Fingers are going to come back towards me. And I'm just going to shift my body back just to get a little bit of a stretch through the flexors here. So I'm just standing in this position. And I'm just going to lean back, get a little bit of a stretch. If that's feeling a little bit too intense, you can come on out of that position there by just decreasing how much you're bringing those wrists into extension. And then just kind of coming forward, we're going to do this one on our knees. Just bring those wrists. So I'm pulling, thinking about bringing those fingertips towards my forearm, towards my body. Just get a nice stretch out in the front of those forearms after just being in that down dog position. Just feeling that lengthen. Good, and then coming out, switching the other side. Good stuff, you guys. So we're gonna take a seat on our bums. So we're gonna work through the core 4 sequence as just a nice warm up. So I'll walk you through them. I want you to try and just follow me as best that you can as I cue you through this. So heels are going to be, feet are going to be about just wider than hip width. Heels are going to be into the floor. Hands are going to come behind. Fingertips can face towards you if fingertips away is a little bit too much, okay? So here, we're just going to go into that nice 90-90 position. So my intention is to now bring my knee towards my heel and then come back up to center. Good. So we want to just have a nice little bit of movement from left to right. So your intention is to bring left knee towards right heel and then switching. Good. Just to get a little bit of fluid and movement through the knees, keeping that chest nice and lifted. Feeling where you may have some tighter spots. Good stuff, you guys. So we're gonna land with our left leg as our lead leg here. Right leg's gonna be the trail leg. And we wanna have a nice 90-90 degree position, or what you can do is here, I can almost bring the sole of my foot onto the top of my thigh if that 90-90 is a little bit too intense, okay? So from here, we just wanna lead from the low back here. We don't want to collapse. So you don't want to have any collapsing. We just want to kind of just scan left to right, just to start opening up through the tissues in the low back and the glutes. So as best, try to not round too much. Really just try to lead with the chest. And then we're just going to start scanning from right to left, almost like kind of cat paws, moving from right hand to left hand. And still focus on having a nice inhale and exhale count for 4. And if you find a little bit of a tighter spot through the glutes here, just hang out, take a nice breath, and then move to that next spot. So just scanning, getting the body open. The breath is going to be really important here when you start to find those tight spots. Good. So just going to shift my body here to show you. We're going to fall back onto our back arm. And from here, I'm going to just come onto my forearm. So I want to create a nice long line from my right knee up to my right hip to my right shoulder. Okay. So from here, we're going to lift on up, rotating my chest down towards the floor, and then swooping back on up. Nice big inhale. Think about pushing my hips forward so I can get that nice hip flexor stretch. And I want to reach, reach, reach. Really feel where there may be tension. Big, big breath. And then swooping on back down. Nice big inhale. Lift through the arm. That hip roll forward a little bit. Nice and tight. Oh, and exhale, let go of that tension. Inhale, lifting up, reach, and down. Last one here. Hips are rolling forward. Good. You get that nice stretch through the ribs, a little bit through the QL in front of the hip flexor. Good. We're going to come back up onto that, our back arm here. And again, I just want you to now just kind of come back out that the way that we came in. So we're just going to come scan through again, just left to right. Good. Everyone's doing okay and can see me all right? If I get a couple thumbs up, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Awesome. Lovely. So again, remember, trying not to collapse through that torso. Really try to have that intention to move from the hips and lifting out of the hips. Good. And then we're going to come back to start position. So same again, knees just wider than hip width, heels into the floor, and then we're just going to go through 6 rotations here. So just letting that knee drop down to the heel, pushing through the hip. Good. Focusing on your breath. And then we're going to stop on off onto our right side. So our right leg is going to be our lead leg. Same cues here again. If you want to bring the sole of the foot to the top of the thigh, by all means. If not, you can extend that leg into more of that 90-90 position. Okay, same thing again. We want to lift through the torso. Okay, we want to lift up and just start to get a little bit of a left to right, a nice little scan through the hips. You may fall a little bit more forward than me. That's okay. It's all going to depend on how much mobility you have and how tight the tissues are. So just take this time, taking your breath. Start to feel that little bit of a stretch through the back kind of side of the glutes, maybe that outer hamstring. And we're just gonna scan left to right. You look good, guys. Again, if you find that tight spot and you want to take a little bit more attention there, just focus on a nice inhale for 4 and exhale for 4 count, and then you just move on to that next spot. Good. And then we're gonna take our right arm and we're gonna do the same thing we did on the other side. I'm gonna now I'm gonna extend this arm back behind me, and I'm gonna come onto that forearm so that I now create that nice line on my left leg, coming from my knee, hip up to the shoulder. So from here, same again, we're gonna take a nice big inhale, reach, 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 rotate looking down, and then exhale and that arm come along the side. Inhale, lift up. We wanna reach over, push that hip forward, low squeeze the glute as if we wanna rotate towards the floor and back down. Good, we've got 5 of these here. Nice big inhale, lift and reach, reach, reach. Good, and coming back down. 2 more. Big inhale and exhale as you come on down. Last one there. Lifting out of the hips, out of the rib cage. Stretch and exhale, coming on down. And then when you feel good, lifting back up on to the palm here of that back arm. And then same again, coming out the way that we came into the stretch. We're just gonna work through the tissue a little bit, scanning left to right. Really just focusing on breathing, keeping that nice 4 count breath. Good. So that chest's just scanning left and to the right, into the center of the knee. Good stuff, you guys. So now we're gonna slowly come out back to start position. And then last one through here, just those 6 little rotations left to right with that internal and external rotation. So driving that heel into the ground, lifting through the chest, moving through the hips. Good stuff. Might get a couple pops. tight tissues. Good. So we're going to come back into our all 4 position, and we're going to just work through some hip rotations. So what we want to work through here is basically the CARs. So the controlled articular rotations. So we're just going to work through CARs in a all 4 position, and we just want to focus on working through all of the ranges of motion of the hip. Okay. So with this, at best, we want to maintain strength through the core, strength through the arms, and we don't want to have any sort of fault at the low back or overarching or over flexing. You really want to try to maintain that nice bit of stability through the torso and really just focus on what movement that you have at the hip. So I'll show you it once through. So here I'm nice and set. I have a little engagement through the core. I'm gonna go with my right leg first. I'm gonna slightly just move my leg into flexion. So I'm just gonna bring my knee slightly towards my chest. No movement through the low back. I'm gonna come out into abduction, keeping my foot nice and flexed. So I'm bringing my leg out towards the side. Then I'm gonna move, trying to bring my heel out almost towards my hand as I come into internal rotation and I move into extension. So coming almost up into that glute exercise, you would think as doing one of those kick-ups to the sky. Then I have this nice position here, and then I come back down to start. So from here, same again, I would then come back into extension. So keeping nice brace to the core. I'm gonna then come bringing my heel towards my left foot as I come out, keeping that leg up nice and high, and then coming around back to start, okay? So it may not be perfect, but you just want to focus on, as best you can, working through those ranges of motion, okay? So we want to work through that 3 times on each leg. We're going to start with the right leg. I'll walk you through them and cue you through them. And then if you can stick with me as best you can, we'll do it together. So we're all good? Thumbs up for those of you? Okay, perfect. So we're here, hands are under the shoulders, nice set spine engaged through the core. From here, I'm just gonna bring my knee just slightly into flexion, as much as I have, coming out into that abduction, bringing my leg out to the side, keeping my foot flexed. I'm gonna try to turn my leg inwards. Okay, so that foot's coming out as I keep lifting up into that extension. Good. And then coming back down to start position. Okay, lovely. Now we're going to move into extension. So lifting that leg up to the sky as much as I have. Let my heel fall towards my left leg as I bring my leg out and around, keeping nice control, back down to start. Can we see that? Or is that a little, okay. So when we're ready again, at your own pace, we're gonna start again. So coming, slightly moving into flexion, out into abduction, keep that foot flexed, just as much as you have. Internally rotate so that heel kind of comes out, but keep that nice edge of the joint range as you bring your leg out and around into that extension. Should be feeling a little bit of work here. Keep everything nice and strong, and then coming back down to start. Good. Same again, last one. We're going now into extension. Lifting up to that end range. Keep it nice and tight. Don't let your body fall. Letting that heel drop out towards my left leg. Find that end range. Knees coming out to the side. And then I want to bring my hip back down to start. Good stuff. We'll go one more time, starting with that flexion, nice and set. I drive forward into as much flexion as I have, come out into that abduction, so that fire hydrant, turning that leg in as I push the heel up to the sky. Good. Keep it tight. Breathe, and then coming back down. Lovely. Last one, moving into extension first. Good. Really try to make sure that you're not dropping through the low back. All of that movement is coming from the hip. So you work, you find that range, and then we just move through the ranges as best that we can without having any compensation anywhere else. Good. Lovely. Good job, guys. Okay, now we're going into the other side. You can shake the wrists out a little bit. We'll move on to the left leg. So same little sequence here again. Nice and set through the shoulders, hands under the wrists, little brace through the core. And I'm gonna now move left leg coming into flexion, out into that abduction, turning that heel outward as I move into internal rotation, and I swoop around as I push my leg up into extension to get my glute fired up. Good, nice and tight, and then coming back down to start, okay? Again, keeping that low back nice and stable, that lumbar spine nice and stable. Now we're gonna move into extension. So legs coming all the way up, that glute squeezes, heel drops down to that right leg as I try to bring my leg up and around, back to start position. Lovely. Good stuff. Starting again, moving into hip flexion, out into abduction, that fire hydrant, turning my heel out towards, away from the body as I lift up and around into that extension, trying to get all borders of the hip, and then coming back down to start. Good. Moving into now extension, foot's flexed, extending up to the sky, letting that heel drop down, braced through the body as I and come up and around, out the way that I started. back to start position. Good. One more time here. Coming into flexion first, out into abduction, slight internal rotation. Keep that foot engaged, keep the leg engaged, body's tense. Just that movement coming from the hip, wrapping around into that extension. Good. Back down to start. Last one here, moving into extension. So legs coming up towards the sky, heels flexed. Dropping that heel down into external rotation as I open up and around. Back down to start. Lovely. Good. It should feel like a little bit of work as you work through those ranges of motion, just to try to get through the edges of that joint mobility to start working all of those different articular movements that the hip has there, okay? Everyone's feeling okay? Thumbs up. Good, you guys rock. You guys rock. So we're gonna go through a nice little modified pigeon pose stretch, then with a little bit of contract, relax, okay? So we are gonna hang out here for about 2 minutes or so. So I want you to find a position that's gonna be most comfortable for you. From there, once we've sat in this for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, we're then going to then create a little bit of a contract, relax in that position, then taking a breath and then finding a new range again, contract, relax, and then we'll come out of it. So it should take about 5 to 6 minutes per side. If you do find this to be a little bit too tough, again, if you have the range to have that nice 90 degree position and you feel comfortable having that chest lean over the knee, by all means. If you want to decrease the angle, decrease it a little bit by bringing that heel in so that you feel like there's not so much restriction through the hips moving through this one, okay? So if everyone can see where I'm at, my left leg's gonna be my lead leg, right leg's gonna be back through here, and I'm gonna fall into this nice 90 position, okay? So from here, I'm drawing that 90. If you have this, awesome. If you need to, as best you can, get into that position, okay? So I'm gonna have my chest over my left knee, okay? So from here, again, we don't wanna have any of that arching through the back. You really wanna stay as lifted as you can and just find your end range with this nice spinal position over your left leg, and we're going to hang out here for about 1.5 minutes or so, taking some nice big, deep diaphragmatic breaths, okay? So think about trying to relax tension through the body, but maintaining nice structure as you do that. So we don't want to fall, we don't want to collapse, but you want to allow yourself to take that nice inhale for a count of 4 and that nice exhale for a count of 4. If you find that you're able to sink a little bit deeper into the stretch, by all means, that's great. Take that bit of range that you've gained. Just try not to lose that nice position that we have here. So as we inhale, we think about the belly expanding. And as we exhale, we think about drawing the belly button back into the spine. Good. So from here, what we're gonna do now with this position is this front leg here, I want at about 50 to 70%. I want you to try to push the leg into the floor. So create some nice tension through the arms, okay, through the core, and on basically on my 3, you're just gonna ramp up, push the leg in 3, 2, 1. You're gonna ramp up, pushing that whole leg into the floor from knee down to the heel, holding for 10 to 20 seconds. Creating tension through the body, exhale and relax. Now we want to try to slip a credit card underneath the heel of my foot So you want to just have the intention, even if you can't lift that heel off by driving the knee into the floor, just have the intention to do so, okay? So on my 3, 2, 1, have the intention to try to lift. Use those inner thigh muscles. So you should feel it through the almost the adductors here, trying to lift up, off, through the heel, trying to lift that leg up. Think about sliding a credit card underneath. Creating tension, breathing in 3, 2, and relax. Good. And then if you can, sink a little bit more forward. Doing okay? Yeah, a couple nods, good. So from here, take about 1 nice big diaphragmatic breath. And same again, we're gonna drive into that contract position. So we wanna try and drive that front leg into the floor, okay? Ready? Here we go. 50 to 70%, ramp it up. Push, hold, create that tension through the body. Breathing. And then exhale and relax. Good. And then now we're going to try the other way. So bringing that, sliding that credit card up under that lower leg. Get this guy fired up. Ready? And go. 10 seconds. Keep your tension. Breathing. And then relax. Sinking forward a little bit. Maybe have a bit more range. And then slowly just coming back on out into that start position that we had, okay? You can take a seat if you want to move through those rotations here. Nice little 90-90. And then we're going to take our right leg as our lead leg. Good. So, same again. As best you can with that 90-90 position. Chest is going to be over the right knee. If you need to bring that sole of the foot in towards the thigh a little bit more because it's a bit too much, that's okay as well, okay? So from here, again, we're going to just find a nice little modified pigeon stretch so that my chest is over top of that knee. That's my intention, and we're just going to hang out here for about 1.5 minutes. Trying not to collapse through the low back, stay nice and lifted through the hips. And breathing, inhale and exhale. Maintaining that nice structure. And really focus on breathing through the abdomen. And again, if you get that range a little bit more while hanging out in this position, by all means, go ahead and take that little bit of range if you have it, okay? Think about trying to let go in the body where you may be holding on. Finding tense spots that don't necessarily need to be tense at this time. And maybe finding spots that are tight that you wouldn't expect to be tight. Good. So same again, we're going to start with trying to push that lower leg, driving into the floor for 10 seconds. All right, in 3, 2, 1, we're going to ramp up, push, keep the body nice and stable, breathing. Intention is to drive knee and heel into the floor, hold. Taking those short little breaths. and relax. Good. Now we're doing it the other way. Think about sliding a credit card underneath that heel. Ready? And lift. You should feel it fire up through the adductors here. Hold. Breathe. Use your breath. Use your breath. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. If you can find a little bit of a new range that feels comfortable to you, that's where you want to go. Still maintaining that nice, good position. Breathe. Use your breath here. All right, we're going to ramp up again. 50 to 70%. Ready? Let's drive. Go ahead. Pushing that lower leg into the floor. Taking those short little breaths. Feel that engagement. Have the intention to push. Breathing. Creating new range. And relax. Good. And the other way. Now we're going to try and lift that heel off the floor as we slide the credit card under. Here we go. Ramp it up. Do your best. Breathe. Short little breaths. Don't forget to breathe. You got this. Focus on your breath. Sliding the credit card under. 5 seconds. And let it go. Good. Find that new little bit of range if you have it. And then again, take that nice 1 to 2, nice big diaphragmatic breath. Chest is still leaning over top of the knee. Maintain your structure, but let go of that tension. Sink into that new range. And then slowly in your own time, slowly make your way up and out. Good. Back onto your bum. And then you can go through a couple of those 90 degree internal, external rotations. Heel coming into heel to knee to heel. Good stuff. All right. So coming up into a hip flexor stretch. So what's going to happen here is with the hip flexor stretch, we're going to do those same contract and relax sequences. But with your hip flexor stretch, we want the feet to be train track width apart, okay? So you don't want to have the foot right in front of the knee. Think about train track width. From here, what we don't want to do is have any extension through the low back. This is, I mean, you can feel a stretch, but you're losing your proper form and stability. So what we want to have happen here, knee's going to track over toe, and I'm going to get my abs on. I'm going to have a tuck of the pelvis so that I can feel my glutes fire up, okay? From this position here, just by having the tuck of the pelvis, you should feel a little bit more of a stretch through the front of the hip, okay? From this position, hands are going to just come onto the top of the knee. And I want you to maintain that nice core glute position. And then just tracking forward. So for me to track forward there, I've got my stretch. I haven't lost my form. And I just want to breathe. Taking my nice diaphragmatic breaths here. Relaxing through the shoulder. Still thinking about having that little bit of a pelvic tuck and a little bit of a glute engagement. That's going to cue you to have that little bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. And for my abs to be on, really thinking about someone pulling me with a string from the top of my head. And then I just track forward to where I feel that position. That feels good to me. Good. So we're holding this a little bit more passively because we want to really lengthen the tissue, but maintain nice, good posture and position. That breath is going to help lead you a little bit more into relaxing the tissue. The next step here, what we're going to do is your intention is going to be to do a leg extension by trying to push the foot and the lower leg into the floor and the knee forward, but no movement's going to happen. So from this position here, again, we're going to hold for 10 to 20 seconds. I want to think about pushing my leg into a leg extension as I drive my knee forward, and I'm going to hold. Here we go. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Maintain your position. 70%. 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Good. And as you relax, you might gain just a little bit there. Okay, but I still have my position. Good. One more time. Driving that foot. Leg extension, knee forward, and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale and relax. Good. And on that relax, you should have that little bit of space to get that new range, but I'm still maintaining my position here. Good. Holding this now for 30 seconds. Focusing on your breath. Inhale and exhale. Should feel like a little bit of work. And then exhale, slowly just shift your body weight back. So I bring myself kind of back to my start position. And then I'm just going to switch legs. So that can be a pretty intense one, which is okay. Again, you just want to work with your breath and work to where you feel most comfortable and where you can gain that new little bit of range, even if it's just millimeters. Okay, so left leg's going to go back into that hip flexor stretch. Right leg's going to come forward. Same thing again. We're going train track width apart. Okay, so from here, tuck of the pelvis. Okay, nice and tall through the upper body. Hands are coming onto the knee. And I just want to find that position that allows me to feel that stretch through the front of the hip. Into the quad a little bit. Glutes slightly engaged as I have that posterior pelvic tilt. And again, we're just going to hold here for about a minute and a half. Take your time to really open up through the diaphragm. Feel the abdomen move out as you take a nice big belly breath. And as you exhale, you want to create space. Create new space.
But while we're holding this one, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Intensity in my quad on the, probably this leg too, but with the leg drive downwards, yep. The extension, is that normal? Like, do you
feel when you go into that isometric contraction there, Michelle, you should feel that fire up. What I would suggest is if it feels like it's going maybe like past a 7 out of 10, I would ease up on the stretch and then go into the contraction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the leg that's on the floor.
Right here?
The other one.
This one. So when you're in this stretch, you can feel it in the quad?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal.
Intensity. Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Because when you do get that posterior pelvic tilt, you will feel that fire up through the quads as well too. So from here, now we're going to move into that leg extension and driving of the knee forward, okay? Keeping nice tall posture, and we just want to press, hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, relax. Think about tracking forward, maybe getting a little bit more range. Might be millimeters, guys, that's okay. Nice big breath in and exhale. Same again. Think about now, again, we're going leg driving into the floor and driving that knee forward. Here we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. Maybe get a little bit more range, still keeping posture. Again, might be millimeters. Taking a breath in and out. If you want to go again one more time, if you feel you need it, by all means you can. If not, we're just going to work through this just nice new position that we have. 30 seconds. Tall through the chest. Still have that little bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. Big breath in and exhale through the diaphragm. And then when you're ready, slowly again, just use your front leg to push yourself back. And then coming on out. Good. We all feeling okay? Michelle, did that make sense? Or you feeling okay with that?
Yeah, I think it was just pretty intense on the one side. So I think I just got some real tight quad.
Yeah, you've got some real tight quad going on there. And if you're noticing it's tighter on the one side than the other, then you got a really tight quad. Good. Everyone else is feeling okay with that? Thumbs up. Any questions, you can let me know afterwards. So let's come back just into the all fours here. And let's just reassess. Might feel a little bit different. And we're just going to slowly, same thing again, scan left to right with the hips. Just kind of finding that upside down V position. And then with here, let's take our head. As my hips drop to the right, my eyes are going to look to the left down to my toes. As my hips drop down to the right, my eyes are going to lift towards the right. So the head's looking in the opposite direction. Good. Just letting those hips fall side to side. Breathing. Good. One more time on the left and the right. Awesome. So let's take a seat into like a child's pose position, or so almost like a frog position, but feet are going to come together at the back. So I'm going to let my hips sit nice and wide. And I'm going to find that nice range where I can sit my elbows onto the floor. My head can then also come down onto the floor and the mat here. And I just want you to find a nice position where you can let the hips sit nice and wide and you can let your body just sink into the floor. Hands can just rest on the forehead. Head can rest on the hands. And I just want you to take a nice couple of breaths here, and we're just going to hang out for about a minute, minute and a half. So you should start to feel that nice stretch through the inner thighs. And as you sink your chest down towards the floor as well, you get that little bit of a chest opener. Hands can stretch out up in front of you, and you can get a little bit more of a lat stretch. And the intention is to just let those hips sit back towards the heels. Think about expanding the breath through the back of the ribs, the sides of the ribs. And as you exhale, you allow your body to sit into the space. Taking that breath. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Just stick with that nice breath sequence. Let the hips release and relax. About 20 seconds or so here, guys. Nice big diaphragmatic breath. And when you're feeling like you're ready to come out, just lift up through the hands, shifting the body forward, heel toe, bringing the knees and the body kind of back into that quadruped position. Last one here, we're gonna hop onto our backs. You're gonna go into just a nice little low back spinal twist. If you do find that rotation irritates the low back, or it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, I would suggest not doing this stretch. And then we could go back into, for the low back, if you have, just to lightly sit into a seated spinal twist isn't going to be as aggressive. And you can just get that nice little bit of posture through here. Okay, just to get a little bit of rotation through the obliques as well. Okay, so if you feel okay, or you can just lay on your back and chill out, let the body sink, you know, let everything just kind of sit where it needs to. Okay, so laying on your back here, foot is going to cross onto the top of the knee, and you're just going to slowly let that foot fall to the other side. So my right leg is crossing over my left, and my right arm is extended out. My heel is just tucked a little bit around my lower leg, just at the knee, and that's also going to get a little bit through the glutes as well. Same again, just nice focus on that 4 count breath. Let the arms extend out. Breathing through the abdomen, feeling the ribs open. And if the body wants to move a little bit more into that spinal twist, it can. Just go to where it feels comfortable for you. And your main focus is on your breath as you just lay in this position here. This big inhale and exhale. Let the body sink. And slowly unhook the foot and letting the hips come back to center. Still laying on your back. From here, we're going to cross our left leg over the right, just what we did on the other side. And then you're going to just let that left leg just slowly fall towards the floor. Arms are going to extend open. Feeling the difference, change. Letting go of tension where you may be holding it unnecessarily. Nice big diaphragmatic breath, opening up through the rib cage. And the quads relax, the glutes, the shoulders. Stay nice and focused on your breath. Inhaling for a count of 4. And exhale for a count of 4. And slowly unhook, coming back into feet hip width apart with your back on the floor. You're just going to, from this position with your feet nice and planted, you're just going to slowly drop that right leg out to the side and then back up to center, letting then the left leg drop out to the side. So from this position here, as you see my legs, we just want to let those hips fall out to the side. So we're almost kind of making a V position, and then I'm just going to drop out into an L position. Coming back to center, shifting to the side. Good. We just want to go through 10 to 12 reps here. Still focusing on your breath, letting the hips sink into the floor. Slowly moving. Two more on each side. No rush. And then when you feel ready, just coming back up into a seated position in your own time. No rush, you guys. How are we all doing? Feeling okay? We got some thumbs up. Good. Awesome. It was a solid hour. It was great. Everyone's feeling okay. Did anybody have any trouble, any issues? Everything was feeling all right? I'll take that as.
Sid, that was awesome. Thank you.
Feeling okay, you guys? Good. Awesome.
I feel great.
Perfect. Great.
Squat now.
Yeah, squat set.
Better be getting deep into that squat.
Let's go to the gym.
It's awesome. Good stuff. Good. All right, Kyle, Katie. Yeah, good. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are feeling good. And thanks for tuning in last night with Kyle and again today with me. You know, we both are happy to bring you guys, you know, what we can to help make your bodies feel better and keep your minds clear during this time, and then moving forward once we can all be back together again. So thank you all for joining in. If you have any questions, I mean, you may feel a little bit sore tomorrow. That can happen when you do a little bit of joint and mobility work. But just focus on having a good dynamic warm up as you always do, and then taking any sort of necessary post-workout stretching that might be a little bit more passive. Okay. How's that squat, Adam?
Next level.
Awesome.
Woo! Pretty good for a runner.
That's pretty good.
No way.
All right, you guys.
Okay, thanks, Sid.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you soon.